Today I'm going to have another go at making this become part of this. Might work this time, might not. I know this is low priority, but it's been off for ages and bugging me. The car doesn't match side to side. The junk pile always provides. It's not important, but it looks nicer. That needs a bigger washer. The junk pile always provides. It's not important, but it looks nicer. I can't get this nut done back up again because I've undone it and it's a rotating thing, so I'm going to try and cut a little slot in top of it so I can use a screwdriver to hold the threaded part steady while I'm doing the old bolt up, so I've got some purchase on this. Or if all fails completely, at least drive it to a garage who can do it for me. Get the largest screwdriver I can fit through that gap into that, and hopefully hold it steady enough to tighten. Well, it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing-ish. Right, let's tackle this thing. Now, for the benefit of those people who don't believe me when I say I did do some stuff, but did it off camera, I did put WD-40 on this earlier. I'll put some more on now, just to prove it. Now, I've not used the induction heating tool in a little while. This would be the perfect opportunity to use it and try and free this stubborn track rod end off. Let's go. I might be using the wrong one. Maybe I should use that coil one. Wrap it all around it instead. That might be better. But yeah, I'm going to give that a go. This is still very much a learning curve for me, this whole induction heating tool thing. And it's a lot of fun. I love it. I love a gadget. I love new technology. Anything like this that which can, first of all, make a job easier, but second of all, be hilariously enjoyable, is good by me. So this particular one is flexible and you can curve it around the part you want to heat up. So I'm going to curve it all around the track rod end and a bit of the thread and see if we can make the whole lot heat up. Wow, it gets hot really quick. There's smoke coming off instantly virtually. That's on and off and on and off. Just a couple of seconds. Bada bing, that is just so fast. I'm going to get this blistering hot. I know it says in the book don't get it red hot, but this has caused me some grief, so I'm going to get it quite hot. Let's get this whole thing just roastingly warm, then attack it and see if I can free the damn thing off. Oh, now I'm going to get this off. Cool, that's free at last. Excellent. Ah, ow. That's warm. Well, that worked a bit too well. Now I can't get this off again. Ow, ow, ow. That is really hot. In fact, it's so hot I can't actually touch it to unscrew it. On the captive nut, it's decided it's not going to go anywhere. That means my tracking should stay as it was before, which is good. Now we have one astonishingly hot broken track rod end. More for the scrap pile for next time. Might get even £9. That should just slot, oops a daisy, a bit of bend through there. Ta-da. There wasn't a washer on the old one, was there? No. Hopefully that'll just tighten up. Oh God. I know the way I bang on about this thing, it makes me sound like the world's biggest Draper fanboy or walking advert, but this thing is phenomenal. I'd have been bashing that track rod in for weeks or hours trying to get this thing to come undone, but this is just a few seconds, instantly it's red hot, nothing's on fire, job done. I love this thing. Nearly done and just in time because the rain is just starting to fall. Oops. There's the tip: if you've got a track rod end that's just spinning and it's a new thread, get a big screwdriver, a pry bar or wrecking bar or crowbar, whatever you want to call it, would be better than a screwdriver, but I can't find my crowbar. Put it in here, pull it back against the wheel or whatever, and then it'll pin the thread in, or pin the part you're trying to turn and hold it steady, and you can tighten up the bit you want to tighten up without any hassle. There we go. And I'll just quickly unbend that dust shield. So there we have it, one new track rod end and a handy tip for holding your track rod end still while working, and just in the nick of time because it is starting to rain right now. Next thing, get these things adjusted to the right height because these are sitting way too high right now. This just went from a close-up to a long shot because the rain's now falling hard enough that I'm actually concerned about the safety of the camera. But what I'm going to try and do is, because I haven't got flat ground, measure the winds up from the bottom of the strut thread. Now before I begin, I'm going to wind this half a turn up just to hold the little kind of wedge bit in the top nice and tight. Otherwise that's going to rotate when I move it. When you think how much pressure there is in a car road spring, it's amazing how easily this turns. Now what I'm shooting for with this car is just ever so slightly lower, maybe sort of 2.5, maybe even 3 centimetres lower than stock, but still keeping a nice soft ride, because before I had it set up way too stiff and it was actually not that nice to drive. Now because I will lose count of my threads, I'm going to put a bit of insulation tape on this one here, so I know this was here at the front. Clever, huh? So I've wound this up, I've wound this base plate up to the point where it's just holding this tense tight, so it's not got any flex or play in it, and the top plate can't move. Let's start counting. 1, 2, right, 37.5 rotations from the bottom of there to where that is now. I think I might actually, about 2.5 rotations more, so I've got a steady 40, and 40 is easy to remember. I can translate that over to the other side. 38. Nearly 40. So I'll tighten this one off here. kind of lock it in place against the other one. Some trim seems to have come loose while I was working on the car. There we go. Let's get that back in there. Get that dirt trap sorted so it can keep on collecting mud and rotting the car out for me. Before I adjust the other side up, I was going to roll the car forward and back a couple of times and just let this settle, see if I like the height or if I need to go a bit lower still. Well, that's lower than stock, but it still looks a little high to me. I think maybe I'll wind the driver's side down to 50 threads from the bottom and then see how that looks. But as the rain is getting worse and I'm outside, that'll be a job for tomorrow and the next video. Oh look, before I sign off and do the thing about saying like and subscribe and all that malarkey, I got 3 brand new shiny M10 bolts off the internet to hold this shock absorber / coilover tightly in place. So yeah, I have no idea what happened to the original ones that came off this car. I put them in the glove box or in the car footwell somewhere, you know, really safe inside a car that wasn't going anywhere. Still they went missing. Who knows? Anyway, but yeah, buying bits and having money to keep on doing this is the one thing that stops me doing this any faster. If you're enjoying this, I don't often mention Patreon, but I am on Patreon and there's a link in the description below and probably in a card up above as well. Yeah, just like £1 a month or $1 a month really makes a huge difference to keeping this channel going, because then I can buy silly bits like taking this for an MOT is another 50 quid. The emissions is going to be 50 or £100, getting a garage to figure out what's wrong with it. So it's all the stuff that adds up and slows me down. If you'd like to see these videos occurring faster, then maybe, yeah, just consider doing £1, maybe £2 a month, and we can get these things out to you even quicker for all the more wonderful furious driving entertainment for your viewing pleasure. Or don't if you just enjoy watching it. I don't mind either way. It's great if you can. I'm not going to guilt trip if you're not going to. Don't worry. See you next time.